Yourself with weapons already in hand finds your ass and blasts you out of the sky. You're completely naked when you land. Items in time before someone else with weapons already in hand finds your ass and blasts you out of the sky. You're completely naked when you land, besides your pickaxe. You gotta find weapons and such scattered throughout the map, and you gotta collect crafting materials to help create bases and fortify your defenses. Healing items, additional shields, booby traps, everything's gotta be found in one of the many areas you can land in. And this island is pretty big, but not for long, because after a couple of minutes, the surrounding storm will begin to close in and shrink the available playing area. You get caught in that storm and your ass is grass, so you gotta be on the move constantly. The last man standing is the winner, and games can either go in one of two ways, I found. They can end almost immediately because you and a bunch of other people decide to land in the same area, and boom, there goes your game because someone got to the goods before you did. Or it could be a whole bunch of waiting around as you scavenge for additional items and hiding places while the opposing team is busy playing soccer on the opposite side of the field. Now, I love the concept of the Battle Royale. It's your standard deathmatch on a much grander scale, and what's not to love about that? You know, it feels great coordinating with your team and planning out a course of action, building a base to get better vantage points, or getting yourself out of those stupid situations by hijacking these ATVs and watch as your brother make a goddamn fool of himself. When it comes to the sort of zany things you can do with your character and teammates, I think this is where Fortnite excels, but maybe I've grown a little too impatient for this sort of thing. But if things aren't going a mile a minute, they're going a mile an hour, where it's a whole lot of this. This kind of thing is standard for Fortnite because the name of the game is being the last to survive, with many people incorporating a slow and methodical approach to get to the top. And if you'd rather be in the heat of the moment like you would be in, say, Call of Duty or Overwatch, this might prove to be a little boring, and that's what ended up happening with me. I got bored. In one round, I decided to lay low and hang in this bush for most of the game, and I ended up scoring pretty high at the end because of it. This is likely how you're meant to play to score high, but I'm not much of a fan of camping unless I'm bashing, if you know what I mean, and it just isn't my cup of tea. Don't get me wrong, I was laughing my ass off with some of the things I did with my family and friends, and for that I thank Fortnite for those moments. But as far as games go where I grab a gun and hunt down opponents, then I don't think Fortnite offers much. If you want, you can go ahead and build things with the game's crafting element, but this is probably just personal preference speaking. I didn't use crafting much besides building a last-minute shield from oncoming players, and even then it was made of wood, so it doesn't last long itself. I don't know, there's something about the crafting element in Fortnite that feels a bit shoehorned in. I mean, I've run into a lot of players who can make that shit work, and more power to them, but I sort of found it cumbersome to have to switch between battle mode and crafting mode in real time to get the most out of the experience. Gotta bash the shit out of trees, rocks, walls, and cars to get materials and use them to make walls, stairs, and traps. Basic stuff, simple to understand, but not something I found much enjoyment from doing. For a free-to-play title, I can see what makes Fortnite's Battle Royale mode so alluring, but it wore out its welcome for me fast. There's nothing much else to do besides playing the same game in the same arena, grinding your ass off and using those V-Bucks to buy more costumes and learn those wacky-ass dance moves, and some of them, what the fuck are these dances? There's a lot of charm in Fortnite's aesthetic. I think it's one of the best things about the game for both Save the World and Battle Royale. But unless you're playing with a bunch of like-minded friends, I don't think Fortnite offers much substance beyond doing some funny shit that in a few years' time, nobody will ever talk about again. I don't think it'd be right to call Fortnite shallow, but you get what you pay for. And I doubt there'll ever be a time where I'll give Fortnite another look for a round 2 video or otherwise. Unless they add a lot more to the core game, it just isn't what I'm looking for. But I wouldn't be against playing it with my Twitch subs, which again, major thanks to those that let me a hand for this video. I sincerely did enjoy those little moments. John? I just love it, John. Just the nut guy. You know what? Fuck your day, kid. I also wanted to take the time to thank those who recently visited my Pixel Empire store throughout the last month after I unveiled those new shirt designs. And because of the upcoming holidays, Pixel Empire's got a few deals for you. Well, firstly, if you're new here and never heard of them, Pixel Empire offers a multitude of attire celebrating both pop culture and video games. Art posters for that extra flair, I've been meaning to get this one for quite a while. They've got a large selection of phone cases for both iPhone and Android users, and a surplus of clothing apparel from your favorite YouTubers, including yours truly, Caddicker, SaberSpark, and more recently, Antu. You should consider helping him out. He's a cool dude. He's Antu. That sounded way better on paper. You can make that check out the cash, Ant. You're welcome. This coming Black Friday until the end of Cyber Monday, everything in the store will be 20% off, so go ahead and splurge on some of that while the going is good. And on top of that, Pixel Empire is holding a Nintendo Switch raffle. The grand prize winner will get a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Edition of the Switch, with 10 runner-ups winning some best-selling products and gift cards. You can score some tickets if you sign up for the newsletter or follow them on social media, but if you buy something from my store, that's a whopping 25 entries to help get that winning ticket. You can find a link to the giveaway in the description below, as well as a link to my general store. Much thanks again for your support, and if you're rocking any sort of Some Call Me Johnny merchandise, please share it with me on my Twitter, at somecallmejohn. Yeah, I know John is spelled wrong, but at somecallmejohn was already taken by this one dude who hasn't posted in years, but what can you do? With that said, the holidays They're upon us, so I'm going to spend the next couple of months looking at games that might be right up your alley for the festivities and beyond all of that. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you all for watching. Got 100 Mii fighters all in one life. It's the standard multi-man melee from before, but they also made all-star mode like this now, where instead of facing off against every character in the game using limited health items, you now face them all in this endless mode. I guess it's more straightforward, and given the sheer size of the roster, maybe it was for the best they changed it like this, but I kind of miss the old all-star mode. Cruel Smash on me, what do you want me to say about that? Yeah, that's about right. But you can use your collectible amiibo figures to make custom fighters like before, or you can use certain ones to unlock spirits for adventure mode or spirits mode. Smash Ultimate doesn't have trophies to collect, and that's a bummer despite totally understanding why they were omitted. I'd imagine they were a huge time sink to create, but that was always one of my favorite things to do in single player, collecting these things. Their omission certainly leaves a large void in getting the most out of single player for me, and spirits don't exactly fill the gap. These are collectible pictures that can act as status buffs for your character. You can use them in standard multiplayer, but their main purpose lies in spirits and adventure mode. In these modes, you can face off against opponents with different stipulations, and what's pretty much this game's equivalent to event mode. To compare it to something, maybe the room is filled with a dense fog, or the floor is lava, or some other shit, spirits can help you even the odds, either by canceling out the current obstacle, or giving you a beneficial handicap like an added item, or it just gives you added attack power and defense. These benefits can also be enhanced by leveling spirits up, using these snacks and whatnot you can win in either beast modes or in classic mode. Certain spirits can evolve into much stronger spirits once you level them up enough, and there's even some you can create by fusing other spirits together. There is something to enjoy about collecting these things, I will admit. They're a step above the stickers in Brawl, I find, and when you can score the bounty on those elusive legendary spirits that can pop up from time to time, there's a sense of accomplishment there. It's like beating classic mode in the hardest setting. But this whole thing never goes beyond the niche threshold. This isn't what I consider a killer selling point. You collect stickers for the sake of powering up your character to get more stickers. A time sink and nothing more. But if you want the purest definition of time sink, look no further than Smash Ultimate's adventure mode titled World of Light. So in this mode, our heroes gather up to face a new threat known as Gleam, and believing that first impressions are everything, this motherfucker just straight up nukes everybody. Bam! 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 Bam!
Come to help you find your family!
Bam! The lone survivor ends up being Kirby, because of course he is, and with nothing but his determination and an empty stomach most likely, he sets off into this large world, rescuing the captured fighters from their imprisonment, and wiping the world with these numerous clones that Gleam has sent all over the place. This is the entire mode. You run across the map, face off against a CPU opponent with a different stipulation, you use stickers to your advantage, lather, rinse, repeat for about 20 to 30 hours, and I am not underselling that. That's all you're getting. There's no story to speak of besides stopping Gleam, and it certainly isn't no subspace emissary as far as having those cute little character interaction moments go. Needless to say, I did not feel the need to finish this for this video. After about 5 hours, I got bored. This is something you play in chunks, not to be marathon. It is so mindless. Spirits are meant to incorporate a degree of strategy given how absurdly difficult some of these challenges can be. And I only got the Pauline sticker because the Princess Peach AI managed to kill herself after about 10 attempts. But there's no real need to plan out what spirits to use for this or that when you can just let the game choose the best spirit for the job with the push of a button. And seeing how there's a disgustingly large amount of stickers to collect in this world that can be leveled up by continuously fighting, you will get what you need in time. And to be fair, it does feel good going back to a super tough challenge with a proper setup and winning the day, but this is not something I'm willing to sink 20 to 30 hours in. At least not now, because if I want to unlock custom themes from the main menu, I have to beat this mode to unlock that, and I'm not looking forward to that. I'd gladly take Subspace Emissary over this if given the choice, over Smash Run. That was a good mode. Not Smash Tour, I still think that's a waste of time. But you know what, given that I always get the most out of Smash Bros. With multiplayer, this is all completely harmless to me. Would I have liked a little more? Of course, but given that I enjoy Classic Mode enough already, these modes are just there if I want to do something else with my time, and the internet happens to be down. That said, it's Super Smash Bros. The way I loved it for years. It close to 2 decades at this point, because yeah, this series is turning 20 years old next month. How's that for some gray hairs? If you need another reason to get yourself a Nintendo Switch, well, here you go. For Nintendo games, I don't think it gets any better than this as far as having fun with friends and family go. It's a great time for all ages, and it's going to be around for years to come, not just because of the sheer number of characters and stages to choose from, but because of the upcoming DLC. I kind of want this to be the last Smash Brothers game for years, though. I'm talking taking a decade-long break or some other shit, because I don't see how you can top something like this in just a few years' time. Now, I'm pretty sure this will be the last game Sakurai directs, and it'll be interesting to see where the series goes when that time comes, but I hope that time is a long ways off, you know? This is a fantastic game that is going to have a fantastic shelf life through multiplayer matches, live streams, tournaments, both local and mainstream. It's going to make Nintendo a lot of money, and I can only hope that Nintendo knows when to take it easy and let things stew for the sake of keeping things fresh. But that will do it for this video. Happy smashing to those that get the game. Maybe I'll see you online for a few matches. Who knows? Thank you all for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic night. Happy holidays, and take care. sort of has an unbalanced delivery of exposition, though. Cutscenes are usually about 1 to 2 minutes long, but right before the reflection level, they dump a whole bunch of dialogue at once, even more so if you ask the right questions and unlock more options for this dialogue tree. And normally this would bother me because I always feel there's a way to tell a story without having to stop for an overly long time, especially in a 2D platformer if you recall my problems with Freedom Planet story mode. But I'm so captivated to learn more about Madeline that I welcome the added details. It also serves to flesh out Theo, a wanderer you meet early in the adventure that doesn't seem to have too much purpose in life, but is hoping that the mountain gives him some answers and is glad to help out Madeline because, well, he's a nice guy like that. While everyone here has a degree of snarkiness to them, Celeste's narrative ends up being quite wholesome. I feel it really highlights that for those that are in Madeline's shoes, it's never as bad as your mind might think it is, and that sometimes all you gotta do is just open up and let your friends in. It can make a total difference. It's actually quite a feelsy journey, but for a mountain climb, I didn't think they would come up with 8 different areas to explore, but they managed it. Although the core area is entirely optional and just for the extra challenge. The temperature switching was a neat gimmick to tackle. The sequences where you had to switch between the two on the fly was intense, but satisfying to complete. I'd say my favorites were the Celestial Resort and Reflection. For Celestial Resort, you got a whole bunch of this dark-looking, massive something, but at some points it grows from your previous position, forcing you to think of an optimal route to proceed or how to get back to the entrance while keeping enough safe space to get by. Completing these were some of the most rewarding challenges in normal play for me. The Reflection level has these air boosters that don't last forever but are so cool to utilize in the middle of a long chain of jumps. The sense of flow is amazing here. It's also rocking some pretty psychedelic colors and has one hell of a boss fight. I'm a little conflicted though with how I feel about the game's looks. I love the environments, the soundtrack is amazing, and I dig the animated character portraits. I especially like how Madeline jumps out of hers to really highlight that standard rules don't exactly apply to her. But the pixel quality on the actual character sprites, I feel they're a little too simple. They're quite small, they got no faces. I think with a bigger team and more time, it would have been better with a cleaner, more detailed look, something like an Shantae Half Genie Hero. Highly subjective, I know. It's not bad as it is, but I personally wanted to see something with more expression. I think the Mirror Temple is my only real sour note. Okay, the more I think about it, the clouds in Chapter 4 also suck. The timing to get maximum height is so finicky. I'm not sure if I should let go of the jump at the apex or when the cloud's rising. It seems like it's both at times. These added about 20 deaths to the count on their own. But to go back to the Mirror Temple, it looks cool, has its share of fun gameplay elements, but even with all that, it's just too long. You got the areas with these orb launchers, fumbling through dark passageways looking for keys, and then you got the whole nightmare sequence. It's not repetitive, but a little long in the tooth. Easily the biggest level in the game, whether you go for all the extra stuff or not. But let's talk about that for a second. If you just go into the motions, you can be Celeste in about 6 hours, give or take. But if you feel you aren't being challenged enough for whatever reason, Celeste has plenty of ways to keep you occupied. Throughout every stage, you can find new strawberries that require you to complete a tougher than normal task. It could be getting through a room with an assload of stage hazards, or getting through a room without using the air dash. Strawberries are completely optional, and are really for bragging rights. At first, I didn't buy that when the game told me as such. I was thinking, come on, there's probably a super hard level I unlock by getting all of them, but no, they're just there for you to collect. Okay, the amount you get slightly affects the ending image, but the ending itself doesn't change. So tell your friends when you manage to collect them all. On top of those, there's also the B-side cassettes. Collect these and you unlock a level's B-side, a much harder version of the stage that comes with a separate death count for one thing, and is sure to cramp your fingers like a motherfucker. I didn't complete all these for this video, but I found myself finishing more than needed because I got so caught up in trying to finish the ones I started. I lose track of myself all the time because of that kind of shit, which I attribute to the game's challenging allure. You get these cool looking red hearts for finishing them, along with a lawyer-friendly sound cue from THX. For the completionists inside you, there's also these crystal hearts. These are easily the most obscure thing to collect. The solutions to nabbing these can be convoluted. I sure hope you played Super Mario Bros. 3 to get one of them. That's all I'll say about this one. I managed to find a good chunk of them on my own. You need about 4 if you want to access the core. But for some, man, I don't know. I would have never thought to get this one without using a guide. But again, none of these are required to beat the game. They're just here to fill up the time and for achievements. What Celeste offers in normal play, story, and sound is more than enough to justify its $15 price tag. It's tough as shit, and yet an oddly calming experience at the same time. Now, that's a combination you don't hear much of. Madeline and her journey, both physically and mentally, makes her one of the most relatable protagonists I've seen in a long-ass time in a game. And it's amazing how much that drove me to continue playing. I was already having fun, but this added another layer that made the entire package more fulfilling. And yeah, what else to say? This is good. You should play this one, and I'm disappointed that I didn't jump in this earlier. With that said, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic night, and take care. Look at this. What is this new end screen shenanigans? Hey everybody, I figured 2019 could use some brand new assets. But as always, you can find links to the previous review as well as a playlist of all my other Johnny vs. videos right then and there. I'll catch you guys in the next video. I promise it won't take as long to come out as this video did. Starting 2019, right? God damn it, I'm going to make sure it happens.